Today on V8 Extra, we wrap up the Sydney Motorsport Park 360. Mark Scaife joins us to discuss the ongoing Team Vodafone and Ford Performance Racing domination. We speak to Jonathan Webb after his impressive weekend. Aaron Noonan does the rounds of the paddock. Rihanna Crean encourages Shane Van Gisbergen to share his secrets. And Kylie King brings us up to speed on the V8 Supercar Family Album. That's all ahead on V8 Extra.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining us again on V8 Extra. Great to have your company today. Well, last weekend, races 18 and 19 of the V8 Supercars Championship, our 9th event of the championship season, and we're now officially on the eve of the season of endurance. Last weekend, we're at Sydney Motorsport Park for the Sydney Motorsport Park 360. We'll wrap it all up today. Can't do that without a buddy. Good afternoon, Mark Scaife.
Hi, Crompo. Nice to have another weekend with you. It's just getting way too monotonous, isn't it?
Quality time together. Well, since 2008, a lot of changes been made out there. I thought, for one, the improvement at Turn 6 was well worthwhile.
Oh, look, no doubt. I thought that overall, I mean, it's good to be racing back there. I mean, it's always presented a really good racetrack, big, fast, flowing circuit. Probably a bit like Phillip Island, I suppose, in terms of its character. And the Turn 6 improvement, you actually did it in the telecast where, you know, used to have that weird little gyration thing. It was strange, wasn't it? Like a little change of direction for no reason. As you turned left, there was a bit of passing go on there, and you couldn't script it. I mean, you think about coming in with 82 points and going out of the weekend into the Enduros with 1 point different is just amazing. And a bit of memory fail as well, because for a lot of people, once again, you forget just how hard the place is on tyres. Oh, wow. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and what about Whincup on Saturday's race and the way that delaminated? I mean, you and I, we would have brought the car in for sure. But as it turned out, there were a lot of other cars. We found out the next morning there were a lot of other drivers in the same boat. I was incredibly surprised that he got away with that without the thing gyrating off the road. Anyway, let's refresh our memory. Here's the highlights, races 18 and 19.
And after 4 long years, it's welcome back to the West V8s. And off we go. Will Davison's been absolutely swamped.
And so has Jamie Whincup.
Craig goes wide and gets onto the grass.
Ooh, that was awkward, and it's fired Dean Fiore off. Look at Webb. Soft tyre working a treat for him. He's opened up a margin.
This is a big gamble. These guys are taking the punt on the soft tyre, living for longer than anybody else. And that's what happened.
Gee whiz, that's real bad news for those tyres. Here, that's the tyre delaminating. Now that's dangerous. That's very dangerous. He's going to have to be super careful.
Gone! And Whincup, this has finally gone on him. Now here he comes. Winterbottom second. And Will Davison will cross the line in third. Cloud's got a great jump. Whincup's gone with him. Will Davison's gone spearing up the inside to grab a bunch of positions off the start.
More problem here. Alex Premer, tyre flat.
Dingle with the fastest lap time so far of 31.14. Around the inside of Lowndes at turn 2 and gunfire.
That was costly because he was taking a bit of time out of his teammate. Here comes Winterbottom.
He's going to get back down the inside at 6, and he gets it done. Good pass.
Right now, we've got a 1-point championship ball game. Jamie Whincup claims victory at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Yeah! Good, fellas. So an all-red weekend for Holden, winning on Saturday and Sunday for Team Vodafone. This is what it translates into on the points table. You can see, Scaife, there's just 1 point in it. Isn't that remarkable? The turnaround over the course of the weekend, one single solitary point between Jamie Whincup and Mark Winterbottom. Looking further down the order, Garth Tander snuck up one position by virtue of his strong run. He's now in position 6. Timmy Slade drops a spot. Gee, they had a tough weekend at SBR. We'll talk about that shortly. And alternating for 10th over the course of the weekend, David Reynolds and James Courtney. Davey Reynolds is the one just inside the top 10 now. So what I'd like to do now, Scaife, is have a bit of a look at a seasonal snapshot. We're on the eve of the endurance races. Everything will change in the coming 3 events, but here's how the boys have set up the first part of their season, and all the winning's been done by 4 drivers.
That's extraordinary. I mean, that part of the year, I mean, if you and I said at the start of the year there was only 4 cars at this point that have won races, we would have said no way, especially with Clipsal and a couple of those big events. Second thing about it is, if you consider the last 22 races have been won by 888 and FPR, that is unbelievable stat.
And the first half of the season, if you follow my crazy logic there, was all about, which is a quarter exactly, is all about Ford Performance Racing. I was no good at maths. And the second quarter was all about Team Vodafone. I'm sweating up now. And so it's been a remarkable turnaround. And when you consider the strength of Team Vodafone in those last 8 races, have been incredible.
Well, it was an FPR domination at the first part. And I actually thought that they had it over them. I didn't think that Vodafone would come back and respond like they have, because their cars are already good. When cars are good, to make big improvements is actually quite hard. So for FPR to have lost their way a little bit and for Triple Eight to have won the last 8, very good performance.
And 6 different guys have enjoyed a pole position so far in 2012. So 4 different winners, 6 different pole sitters. OK, we'll take a break now on V8 Extra. When we come back, we'll catch up with a guy who had a very strong weekend out at Sydney Motorsport Park. We'll speak with Jonathan Webb. Stay with us.
He's managed to do the near impossible and have this thing survive.
150 points for Craig Lowndes, who remains well and truly alive in the championship hunt for 2012. He's about to achieve a personal milestone as well, his first ever race victory at this circuit, with a 58th of his career, and a massively important one, because right now we've got a 1. And off we go here at Sydney Motorsport Park, and Jonathan Webb got a good one.
Look at Webb. Soft tyre working a trick for him. He's opened up a margin.
Entertaining flying lap. Webb leads him through 1:36.17. If you please, standing start time.
Jonathan Webb doing a great job last weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park on the Saturday, Scapey leading the race, although in the back part of that stint his tyre degradation on the harder tyre let him down, but it was a great moment for him.
Well, you commented very well about that, because that actually hurt his overall performance. But I think 2 things that happened. He qualified very well. To be on the front row of the grid any time in this series is very good. He got beaten by 0.02 of a second with Whincup. It was a great lap of Whincups, actually. So to do that, I think will help him. Second thing is, he was the pioneer. And you know yourself, you've got to be so disciplined, Crompo. When you're out the front by yourself, you're the guy on a soft tyre, not really knowing how fast to treat the tyre. I think that will actually help his career. And one of the things about that is it just gives you a sort of an air of confidence that will actually help him moving forward.
Certainly very important learning for him.
Oh, no doubt. And I don't know whether he actually did that good a job, because in the end, as you said, he was too sideways and hurt the tyre later on. You caught up with him over the weekend.
Jonathan, welcome to V8 Extra. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
I'd like to start by asking what this whole project has been like from the inside, especially when you consider that many others have been going the other way and not doing the owner-operator-driver thing. You've gone in the other direction. Has it been worth the effort?
Yeah, I mean, it's something probably a little bit unusual. It started off me just wanting to race cars, and we've slowly gone from there to me doing it on the weekend to doing a reasonable job and making a profession out of it. So, I wanted to make sure I was here for a long time to come, and very fortunate with the family supporting me that we can put this whole operation together.
This year we've seen some great results. You jumped out of the box in Adelaide with an outstanding 4th on the grid. Certainly made lots of people sit up and take notice.
Yeah, I think for us, we had probably a rough end to last year, so we knew we had to focus over Christmas and get all those key points together. And a couple of new cars, obviously switched from Ford to Holden. We threw Michael in the other seat, so it was a huge break for us and a big off-season. But coming to Adelaide, we did exactly what we wanted to do, and it's been a little bit up and down since then. But I think we're getting closer to being more consistent front runner.
Personal best so far this year has been a couple of 7th placings at Phillip Island, but as you mentioned, the ups and downs of the sport. Of course, in Adelaide, there was the downside of getting tangled up with Greg Murphy in that awful incident.
Yeah, it was. It was tough looking back, and everyone's got a lot of questions and how it happened and why it happened. And thankfully now V8 Supercars have sort of tidied up a few issues there that caused that problem. It was a bit disappointing. We were the ones that made them open their eyes and think about it. It was my brand new car that had less than 200 kilometres on it at the time, and it was my baby. Think I'll look after this thing for the next season and the last season in these current cars. So it was disappointing, but hey, we've turned it around now, and we'll keep moving.
Sydney must be a place that you click with, because you were the winner on the streets of Sydney Olympic Park in 2010. No accident, because you went very well there again last year. You're from this part of the universe as well. Is it just something in the water here, or is it just fortunate?
I feel comfortable here. I enjoy the place. I always drag my wife and a couple of dogs down, and we spend some time with the family, in and around the event. So, I think I like the place. I'm relaxed, and looking forward to putting out another good show this weekend.
Still only young and came from other corners of the sport. Is it difficult to come to terms with the competitive task of racing the big names week in and week out on tracks they know and with cars they thoroughly understand?
It is daunting. As I said, growing up, looking at a lot of these guys and idolising them and seeing them win championships and all these sort of things, and yeah, now we're door to door with them week in and week out. So yeah, I'm pretty happy, but yeah, as I said, we'll just keep working on it, and as long as we keep going forward, both myself as a driver and as a team, I think we're heading in the right direction.
Thanks for your time today, Jono, and good luck for the balance of the season.
Thank you.
Good to catch up there with Jonathan Webb from Techno Autosports. By the way, he'll be driving with Scott McLaughlin when we see him at Sandown in a couple of weeks. Time for a break now on V8 Extra. As we go to the break, we'll jump on board again with Jamie Whincup on the start line last Saturday, and another ordinary start. Check this out.
Okay, Shane, 10 questions. What animal best represents your personality?
Probably dogs. Yeah.
What would you spend your last dollar on?
I don't know, something to do with cars. Yeah.
Ultimate comfort food.
Pizza.
Who do you admire most?
Greg Murphy.
What's the first thing you do when you get home from a race meeting?
Sleep.
The best advice you've ever been given?
More throttle, less brake.
Your favourite holiday destination?
Probably Queenstown.
Who would you like to sit next to at a dinner party?
Greg Murphy.
The household chore that you avoid doing?
Vacuuming.
And if your racing career ended at the end of the season, what would you do?
Go and race quad bikes.
Welcome back to V8 Extra. Rihanna Crean having a bit of fun there with Shane Van Gisbergen. Now, Scafie, we certainly know all about what happened with Team Vodafone and Ford Performance Racing, but let's have a bit of a moment to have a chat about some of the others in their weekend last weekend.
Well, there was a couple of things. I thought Walkinshaw's big improvement versus QR. That was the worst performance for a long, long time for them. And probably for the Kellys, I thought they really battled. Stone Brothers were also really poor. I don't know why.
It's really strange because they've shown great form in the recent past, and I thought they were going to have a strong weekend. Lee Holdsworth had an absolute shocker.
Oh, well, he had a shocker, but what about Slade and Van Gisbergen? I mean, he basically pushed him by Jonathan Webb, which was as wild as it gets. It could have been over and out. That was really wild.
Full-blown NASCAR bump passing with him down into turn one. We all held our breath. Anyway, at the end of the day on Sunday, we fired Noons into the paddock to find out who was smiling and who was frowning.
Oh, I think we're trying to think of the positives that came out of it, and obviously it started really, really well for us, but from there, unfortunately, went backwards over the weekend.
This weekend didn't go as planned. Qualifying speed wasn't there, and racing was pretty average. So, we'll take 7th and move on.
We were better than what we showed today, but when you're back there, you're stuck back there. Had some fantastic racing. Everyone was driving pretty good, and even had a bit of a shake and bake moment with Tim there. But yeah, it was tough, really.
You have to start up the front to stay up the front. It's very difficult to race your way through. So. Yeah, disappointing weekend for Irwin Racing, for myself and the rest of SBR. I was pretty frustrated. Probably ended up overdriving the car a little bit.
If you told me I'd get 2 top 10s after Queensland, I would have been jumping down your throat to take them off you. But now you get here and you get 2 10s, you want more. It's never enough. It's been it's a tough couple of weeks. It's been a bit of development behind the scenes, and scratching in the heads and working out exactly what's been going wrong. And I think definitely sort of maybe slowed up the ship. It probably isn't stopped yet, and turning it in the right direction. It's like an oil tanker, this thing, and it was charging a million miles an hour in the wrong way, and it takes a lot to pull it up and spin it around. But we're still a long way off challenging FPR and Triple H.
I think what's letting us down at the moment is our qualifying pace. Our race pace isn't actually too bad. We had a couple of issues in the pits which let us down just a little bit and put us a little bit further back than what we probably should have been. So we still need to find a lot of car speed. We've got a lot of work to do even at the Enduros if we think we're going to get up the front.
We still had great race pace, just didn't make a good start on Sunday. I mean, I've been saying for a while we we've got the race pace, we just need to qualify better now and just need to make a better start.
I'm happy with qualifying. I think in the racing we've probably lost a bit of performance overall.
Straight line speed, what a joke. What a joke.
I haven't been happy with it all weekend, to be honest, but it's something we need to look into because clearly that's free time that we're losing at the moment, and you know, as a driver, you don't want to see that happening.
Michael Caruso there from Fujitsu Racing certainly wasn't happy with engine performance on the Sunday. We'll take a break now on V8 Extra, and when we come back, we'll make Larko step back in time. Won't be hard for him. Stay with us.
And welcome back to Mount Panorama as we look through Dick Johnson's race cam. In behind the Gary Wilmington, Peter Jansen, Jaguar XJS, and they're chasing the man that leads the race, the Alan Grice Graham Bailey Commodore V8.
So for those of you at home who like to trudge back through touring car history like I do, you'll identify with this relic. This is a 1986 Ford Mustang that Dick drove in 86. In fact, they brought two of them out from Europe in 85, 86 from Zaxbyed and competed in the Australian Touring Car Championship. This one here actually finished second in that championship. Now, the reason they brought Ford Mustangs out, and I've got to say I love this as a kid, in fact I had a big poster of this on my bedroom wall, was that they were waiting on the all-dominant Ford Sierras, and they didn't have the technology to really prepare and run them. Remember, they were a turbo engine management type device, so they went with a simpler 5-litre version of the Mustang for a couple of years and were reasonably successful. Now, when you have a look at these cars, they're really quite basic, not overly complex, and one of the really quirky things, I went to actually open the boot and have a look in here, and you need a key. And when I have look back around in the cockpit of the car, something we're not used to as race drivers, it's a key start. But you can see when we lift the bonnet, really where the foundations of our 5-litre touring car racing have come from, because really, whilst a lot of things have changed, so much there is very, very similar. Now, Dick said to me earlier, he loved to drive this car, and when I look at the proportions of it, it's low, it's wide, it's sleek, I can see why he said to me it was a great device to drive.
He's a Ford tragic, isn't he? Any excuse to get into the workshop there at Dick Johnson Racing. That was our Big Pond Sport feature with Mark Larkham and playing around with the old Mustang. Now, don't forget, Scafey, coming up this year, we celebrate 50 years of racing at Mount Panorama. We've got a very big and special show coming up a bit later in the year. Saturday, the 22nd of September, 1-hour special featuring a lot of legends, this bloke included. So stick that one in your diary, and we're looking forward to that one.
Now, we've got a little bit of family feature coming here. Now, I know blokes aren't good at multitasking, especially you. You're not good at multitasking, are you? You are not. But a few of the boys, they actually did some pretty big stuff between QR and Sydney Motorsport Park.
If you ever question the time management skills of V8 supercar drivers, fear not. In between rounds, they've managed to rack up 2 weddings and even welcome a newborn baby into the world. Lee, proud new dad, how's fatherhood treating you so far?
Yeah, it's good actually. You know, we've been. I got to spend a bit of time after Queensland Raceway at home. Yeah, it's awesome. It's unreal to have a little baby girl, Ava, and Alana's been doing a great job as the mum. And everyone's loving it. Grandma and Grandpa are really proud, and yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
Rick and Alicia, congratulations. Talk about squeeze a wedding in. What's going on? You married on a Saturday, back at work on a Monday.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly what I signed up for. I got married, took the dress off, got on the plane, and then back at my desk. It's a bit depressing, but no, that's the way it goes with Car of the Future and the team. It's not much time for anything else.
Rick, you've got to make up for that, haven't you?
Yeah, it was actually quite a lot of planning, obviously, for the wedding leading up to it. It was very difficult to squeeze all that in with, you know, with the commitments for racing. I must admit, Alicia did obviously most of the work leading in, but we're going to sneak away after, you know, the weekend's racing just for a few days in between a passenger ride day and a test day. We get 5 nights away, so looking forward to that.
Well, Steve, there's nothing like getting an edge prior to the endurance races, but slipping in a wedding, that's something different.
Yeah, there's not much time this time of year, but it was good to do leading up to Enduros because I thought it'll toughen me right up if I get married, so looking good for the long distance races.
We work together 5 days a week and, you know, obviously live together, but with the commitments, if we didn't do that, we probably wouldn't see each other that much. So we have fun. We really enjoy it, actually. It's worked quite well.
Normally you guys would be out of the race car checking the data, but now no doubt checking the phone, checking in, seeing how things are at home.
Oh, I don't know about that. I still want to tune this race car up, but obviously, you know, it puts things into perspective. You know, there's more to life than race cars and work, so it's good to have something else to look forward to come home to, apart from just seeing Alana.
Kylie King reporting there. Scafie, we're out of time once again. Can you come back next week and talk fractions with me?
I'd love to be back with you again, another weekend away.
Don't forget our next event. It's coming up very shortly out at Sandown. It'll be the Dick Smith Sandown 500, September 14 through 16. The season of endurance begins. Our next V8 Extra next weekend, as I said to Scafie there a moment ago, we'll be previewing all that's going to happen at Sandown. Hope you've enjoyed our program today. Look forward to your company again next weekend. Bye for now.